This is my Qidi Plus4 printer. I ordered it as a present to myself for 2024. I placed the order at the beginning of November. It arrived mid-December. It has a heated chamber. It's got an over 300 by 300 by 280 build plate. And it can print some exotic materials. And it's an impressive looking machine. I was really excited for this machine to arrive and start using it. When I took it out of the box, my first print, I did the standard benchy off the stick, printed exceptionally well. Let's see if we can place this somewhere we can kind of see it. And then tried to do a couple more sample prints. Unfortunately, the nozzle stuck and caused me a lot of grief. Probably one of the worst nozzle sticks I've ever seen. Because it was Christmas time, I couldn't order another nozzle. So I had to make the big effort to try and get this one cleared. The most effort I've ever put into clearing a nozzle. My suspicion, and just suspicion, because the clog was so bad, I'm curious if something in assembly had fallen through. A small piece of metal, a small piece of some sort of debris, whatever. But like I said, pure speculation. But I did eventually get it clear, but it took me a couple hours to get exotic. After that, it went back into printing and it started printing well. It has some amazing capabilities. Don't get me wrong, even before I get started. I printed a lot of this catapult. Actually, I did a 6-inch one, which I did without any issues. This one started to have issues and I had to switch to my artillery X1 to complete the job. I ended up with some Z offset issues. I did reach out to support about the nozzle and the clogging issue. I was hoping out of good customer care they would have sent me a new nozzle or offered to send me a good nozzle or a new nozzle, but they didn't. They sent me G code instead, which seems a little ridiculous for a clogged nozzle problem. So with my Z offset, this bed is supposed to auto level itself or get fairly close. My MK3S Prusa, which is 6 years old with 6-year-old technology, it has first layer calibration. I have to run through the process. Takes a little bit, but it lets me guarantee a first layer. This has none of those capabilities. It's supposed to look after itself. I tried running several prints that had printed successfully, like my benchy, and it wasn't running, and I could see the gap between the nozzle and the bed. At which time I tried a few things and became absolutely frustrated, boxed it up, reached out to Qidi support, and was hoping to get a refund and return the unit. I was disappointed. It wasn't doing what it's supposed to do, especially if this is doing a better job. 6-year-old technology, brand new technology. I've also got a friend who has the Q1 Pro, and this was the reason I purchased this unit, because he hasn't changed a thing and he gets perfect first layer prints every time. He's too scared to change the firmware or anything on it because it prints so well. So on that recommendation, that was the reason I purchased the Qidi over the Bamboo Labs X1 Carbon, because that was my first sort of choice or what I was thinking. But this became a player, checking their reviews, it seemed impressive. Back to my Z offset issues. I boxed it up. The next day after boxing it up, actually it sat for a day and then in the box, and then Qidi sent me a test file. I threw the test file in, which it printed. I don't know if I've got that sample still. Yeah, there it is. It didn't print it perfectly. You can see it actually lifted the corner. Oh, first thing I did was I reset the machine to factory. Again, I'd already done that 3 times. I had made no changes to the config file. They sent me a test file, this one. They also sent me a printer config file to replace mine. So I reset it, I did my first print, and it printed this. It started to lift in the corner, but it was better than I had gotten the day before, where it was just printing midair. From there, I threw the config file in and printed again this one perfectly. I then started making a habit when I printed filament to use their Qidi test code for PLA. Okay, I had a lot of success. Anytime I end up with curious with things, I go back to that. It started printing again amazingly well, and the other day it went out of whack yet again. I played with the Z offset, which I didn't like doing, and I got it dialed in, and then it got better and better, and it got it down to 0 again. So it was auto leveling, I guess. Okay. Then I tried to do a print, or I got it to print actually successfully with this filament, which is, yes, a PLA silk, using the test code G code they sent me for just regular PLA, which means it works. That code works because it did work. Then after that, it wouldn't print. And I'll include the images for that, of those failures. Which then Qidi said, oh, the problem is because I used PLA silk. Here's a G code for that, which seemed ridiculous because it already printed successfully. Ran it, and it failed. Okay, we are just heating up here till our mark, and then we're going to start printing. We're going to run the same test code that successfully printed these with the exact same filament. Let's see what mystery we get here. Look at that mess. Nothing has changed, yet this thing sucks. Let me cancel this print job before I end up with a big ball here. Remember, this is the exact same filament with the exact same G code with no setting changes. The only thing I should do that I haven't done yet, which I'll try right now, is I'll do a factory reset. And then we'll try it again. More reset to factory. Confirm. Now it's back to factory reset. Let's go back in and try that again. USB. After it loads a few. Test files. That one sent from Qidi using the exact same code that I showed you the successful prints. And we'll let it heat up again, and then we'll come back and assumably watch it fail yet again. Here it is, failing again. This is after machine reset. Same G code that printed successfully before, same filament that printed successfully before. And before people blame the filament, I'm going to run this filament with close to settings that I have, and I'm going to cancel this before it gets too messy. Just a quick peek. 210, 60 degrees. Let's cancel. I just swapped to a 0.4 nozzle, so it's 0.4 to 0.4. And I'm doing first layer calibration on my Prusa right now. I'm about to use the exact same filament that's failing, so everyone who goes, it's your filament, hopefully I can prove that not to be true. A little more dialing in. First layer calibration on my Prusa. It's close enough. It's not great, but not bad. I can live with it. Now I'm running, this is the same one I ran with Qidi's test code that once ran successfully for me and stuff like this with their test PLA G code. But then when I showed them it failed, they sent me another one and said the problem was I wasn't using silk. So here I am using silk. This seems ridiculous. 10 degrees and 5 degrees of bed temperature shouldn't make any difference. I'm starting to wonder if they're stalling for time for me to be outside the return it warranty. I'll let you guys kind of judge what you think here. Anyway, I'll prove it against running against my Prusa for the same tests. I redesigned the model in Fusion, and I'm now setting it up to print on my Prusa using the same red filament that worked before on the Qidi but doesn't work now, as you saw in the demonstration. On a side note, my God, my Prusa prints clean. And here we go again. This is running their PLA Silk code, which I did get to print successfully. It's almost printing a little bit better this time, but it still sucks. Comparing their print to my Prusa, it's not even close. My Prusa kicks butt. 6-year-old technology. I paid $1,000 for this printer. I didn't pay $1,000 for my Prusa. And at some point in here, this is probably going to turn into a disaster and fail. Sadly, this is the best print it's given me in about a day, but you can already see the corners lifting there. Zoom in on that. So there's an hour to go on this print, and I'm going to go take off for an hour. There's an hour to go on this print, and I'm going to take off for an hour. You'd be curious to see if I end up with spaghetti with one of them or not. Hopefully not. What a mess. So the Prusa, using the exact same filament that failed on Qidi, was successful. I won't be able to do that again. I'll have to grab another filament, but I'll test it on the Prusa to make sure the filament's good. And look, it worked this time. But let's take this off and ask it to do the exact same thing and replicate it again. Wow, I might do 2 in a row. So let's try this again. Kind of out to prove that it lacks consistency. We'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky. Oh, look at that. We're going to get lucky here. Nope. We might get this one down, but it got lucky. Completely lacks consistency. Unlike a 6-year-old Prusa, which keeps nailing it over and over again perfectly. Prusa, same filament, basically same model, with the exact same settings I have on there except for the speed, because it's a 6-year-old printer. It's going to print the way it prints. And the G code wasn't prepared by a professional, it was just prepared by me. This is second layer. See how it's sped up right now. It took its time on the first layer to do a great job, because that's where it all lies, the first layer. Qidi is failing miserably at that. Same filament, pretty much same print on a Prusa, with the exact same settings as Qidi supplied for the regular PLA. Other than speed, but temperature-wise, 210, bed temperatures, 60 degrees C. So to prove a point here, here's a brand new box of filament, PLA, nothing exciting. Should be dry as can be. Let me pull this out and I'll load it in the machine. Just confirm. Let's do that. PLA. Just unloading or loading filament now. There we go. See, it's slowly but surely turning. It's loading it in. I can still see it running gold there. Which means that filament is successfully. With the new filament, I'm going to run the test PLA G code. This stuff should be dry. No one can say there should be anything wrong with it. It's brand new, out of the bag. Go, go, go. If it fails on here, I'll throw it on the Prusa to prove the filament is good and show that it appears to be my Qidi is causing the issues. Okay, we're just coming up to heating the nozzle to temperature. It just hit 210. Let's drop down and watch the bed and see what we get here. No, it already made a mess. I'm not sure if I can capture it. If it had laid down its purge lines so they'd stuck to the bed, they wouldn't have blown over with the fan blowing so hard. It's already started lifting the corner. Another failure. One of the funny parts with my Prusa is it doesn't take that 5, feels like 10 minutes like the Qidi does to auto bed level, because I've already done the first layer calibration. So I wait 5 to 10 minutes on the Qidi Plus4 for no reason at all, because it does a crappy first layer. Here is that filament that failed, the brand new filament that I took out of the bag, put in the Qidi Plus4 that failed instantly, ran in my Prusa with the exact same code, and completed perfectly. Strangely as expected on a 6-year-old printer. So I've been trying to return the unit and get a refund because it's lack of consistency. I've followed the procedures. I've submitted to after sales support email, which we have these two. This support email has sent me 3 G-code files for a clogged nozzle and for a Z offset that doesn't work. And the problem is the printer is so inconsistent and the Z offset keeps changing. I would change it manually, but the fact that it seems to randomly come back means I could end up digging a nozzle into the bed later on. I've emailed this one, which I assume has to do with this, the after sales support email, to try and get my refund. I've emailed them 3 times and heard nothing. It's funny, they say get hassle-free returns and refunds on Qidi 3D printers. It's been anything but hassle-free so far. I unfortunately ordered directly from Qidi. If I had ordered from Amazon, I probably could have had methods of getting a refund easier. Yeah, not very happy. If anybody's got a solution that, or methods they could have used by ordering directly from Qidi, or a line that helped for it, okay, or even solutions, I'd appreciate that. These are all prints that were successful with the Qidi. They are 3-piece components. They will not be successful now. And this is my biggest problem. Right now I'm at 1 in 5 chance, if I'm lucky, of a successful print. Lately, over the last 2 days, it's been 1 in 10. If somebody in the community could help me, that'd be great. If Qidi could help me, that'd be even better. And I'll update this video when I hear back or things improve. But right now, I've got a $1,000 printer that is unreliable. And they just keep sending me G code for a solution.